Everyone loves watching a pathetic weakling transform into an absolute god. Today, we rank the 6 greatest anime where a total loser becomes completely overpowered. Kicking off our list at number 6, Arifureta. From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Hajime Nagumo is an ordinary otaku who gets teleported to a fantasy world alongside his entire high school class. While his classmates receive incredible magical abilities and powerful combat classes, Hajime is stuck with a mundane transmutation skill, usually reserved for basic blacksmiths. During a deadly dungeon raid, he is completely betrayed by a jealous classmate and plummets into an abyssal labyrinth filled with terrifying monsters. To survive this brutal environment, he must consume monster flesh, reconstruct his body, and forge deadly modern weaponry using his supposedly weak crafting magic. This series delivers the ultimate edgy revenge fantasy that viewers crave today. What makes it so addictive is how unapologetically ruthless the protagonist becomes after his traumatic fall. The transition from a timid, bullied kid to an absolutely merciless gunslinger is incredibly satisfying to witness. While the computer graphics in the first season are notoriously rough, the sheer entertainment value carries the entire show. Watching him completely dismantle arrogant enemies who once looked down on him never gets old. It perfectly scratches that power fantasy itch with dark, gritty themes. Moving down the rankings to number 5, The Rising of the Shield Hero. Naofumi Iwatani is summoned to a parallel world as the legendary shield hero to fight against catastrophic dimensional waves. Unlike the other 3 heroes who receive offensive weapons, his shield is completely useless for attacking. Shortly after arriving, he is falsely accused of a terrible crime, stripped of his dignity, and cast out by the kingdom. Forced to survive entirely on his own, Naofumi becomes a cynical merchant and buys a demi-human girl named Raphtalia to fight offensively on his behalf. Together, they slowly build a formidable adventuring party. What makes this anime truly phenomenal is its masterclass execution of the outcast trope. The show brilliantly exploits our sense of justice. You cannot help but feel burning rage at the society that wronged him. When he eventually unlocks overwhelming abilities fueled by sheer hatred, the emotional payoff is absolutely legendary. The soundtrack elevates every single combat sequence to cinematic levels. It takes a generic fantasy premise and injects it with raw psychological depth. Watching this broken man slowly regain his humanity while dominating his oppressors is pure television gold. Breaking into our top 4 at number 4, Solo Leveling. In a modern world plagued by deadly magic portals, human hunters fight terrifying monsters to protect society. Sung Jinwoo is notoriously known as the weakest hunter of all mankind, struggling merely to survive low-ranked dungeons to pay medical bills for his mother. After a catastrophic double dungeon incident nearly kills him, he miraculously awakens in a hospital bed with a mysterious system floating before his eyes. This unique program grants him the exclusive ability to level up his physical stats indefinitely by completing brutal daily quests and slaying monsters. This adaptation absolutely shatters expectations with its breathtaking visual fidelity. The animation studio flexes unbelievably hard during the combat scenes, delivering fluid choreography paired with gorgeous particle effects. You are strapped in for pure hype from start to finish. Watching Jinwoo transform from a fragile boy into a terrifying shadow monarch is the definition of dopamine. It avoids the annoying whining found in many similar tropes, opting instead for sheer cold confidence. The pacing is incredibly addictive, ensuring you will binge the entire season in one single breathless viewing session. Crashing into the top 3 at number 3, ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. Subaru Natsuki is suddenly transported to a magical kingdom while returning from a convenience store. Expecting to receive vast magical powers as a chosen hero, he instead discovers he is completely powerless. Shortly after arriving, he is brutally murdered. However, he instantly awakens back at his starting point, realizing he possesses a singular ability called Return by Death. He must use this agonizing time loop mechanic to navigate complex political schemes, face horrific magical beasts, and save his new friends by experiencing gruesome deaths repeatedly until he finds the solution. This masterfully subverts the typical fantasy narrative by making the protagonist endure immense psychological torture. Subaru is deeply flawed, often acting pathetic and arrogant, which makes his gradual evolution incredibly authentic. The narrative punishes his mistakes severely, creating tension that most shows completely lack. Watching him leverage the knowledge gained from his failures to overcome seemingly impossible odds is profoundly rewarding. The voice acting during his mental breakdowns is spectacular, anchoring the dark themes perfectly. It proves true strength comes from unyielding mental fortitude rather than shooting simple, magical fireballs. Securing the runner-up spot at number 2, Black Clover. In a realm where magical aptitude dictates societal status, Asta is tragically born without a single drop of mana. Despite this massive disadvantage, he loudly declares his impossible dream to become the Wizard King. While his gifted rival Yuno receives a legendary 4-leaf grimoire, Asta gains a dirty 5-leaf grimoire containing forbidden anti-magic. Joining the chaotic Black Bulls squad, Asta must physically train his body beyond human limits to wield heavy swords capable of completely nullifying spells, proving that hard work can triumph over natural magical talent. This incredible underdog story redefines traditional shonen greatness through pure, relentless energy. While the early episodes face pacing issues and loud screaming, sticking with it reveals an absolute masterpiece of character progression. Asta represents the ultimate refusal to quit, inspiring viewers with his unbreakable spirit. The studio consistently delivers massive payoff moments during major team battles, blending fluid animation with roaring hype tracks. It excels because the entire cast grows alongside him, creating genuine bonds. The eventual power scaling feels entirely earned through literal blood, sweat, and sheer absolute dedication. And finally, reigning supreme at number 1. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Belle Cranel is a naive amateur adventurer living in the bustling city of Orario, where massive labyrinths are strictly controlled by powerful deities. Starting as the sole member of the incredibly weak Hestia Familia, Belle constantly struggles to survive low-level monster encounters. After being humiliated by a terrifying minotaur and rescued by a famous swordswoman, he awakens a rare skill that drastically accelerates his statistical growth based on his romantic feelings. Driven by his desire to become worthy, Belle descends deeper into dangerous dungeons to gain unprecedented legendary power. Do not let the incredibly misleading title fool you into skipping this absolute gem. This show boasts some of the most phenomenally animated boss fights in modern history. Belle possesses an infectious earnestness that makes you actively root for his terrifying journey toward greatness. Watching him overcome his devastating imposter syndrome to clutch impossible victories is genuinely inspiring. The expansive world building surrounding the various divine factions adds brilliant layers of political intrigue. It flawlessly combines lighthearted comedy with surprisingly brutal life or death stakes to create absolute cinematic perfection. Watching these spectacular weaklings finally claim absolute dominance never gets old. This satisfying transformation trope remains the absolute peak of modern anime storytelling. Which specific underrated character transformation truly shocked you the most? Share your personal favorites in the comments and keep watching GR Epic videos.